Have you ever dreamed of walking through a city where every corner whispers stories of love, revolution, and timeless art? A city where centuries of history collide with modern life, creating a rhythm so captivating that it lingers in your heart long after you leave? Welcome to Paris, a place where dreams are built in stone, imagination flows in the streets, and every step you take feels like stepping into a masterpiece. From glittering monuments to quiet riverbanks, from bustling cafes to cobbled alleyways, Paris is not just a city. It's an experience that awakens every sense and captures every soul. Join us as we uncover the wonders of Paris, exploring its secrets, its magic, and its soul, one breathtaking moment at a time. Before the world wakes up, before the streets fill with footsteps and voices, Paris breathes in silence. The first light of dawn touches stone and water, and the city reveals itself not as a destination, but as a feeling. This is not just a place on a map. This is a city that has shaped art, challenged power, inspired revolutions, and taught the world how beauty can endure time. Paris does not ask to be visited. It invites you to feel it. As morning unfolds, the Seine glides gently through the heart of the city, reflecting centuries of history on its surface. Bridges stand like guardians of memory, carrying whispers of poets, painters, lovers, and dreamers who once crossed them. Paris was not built in a moment. It was written slowly, line by line, generation after generation, by those who believed that life itself could be art. This city has witnessed the rise and fall of empires, the roar of revolutions, and the quiet determination of people who refuse to let their spirit fade. Every street carries a story. Every building holds a secret. From medieval stone to elegant boulevards, Paris is a living museum where the past and present exist side by side, never competing, always conversing. Paris is a city of contrasts. Grandeur and intimacy share the same space. Royal palaces stand only steps away from humble cafes where ideas that changed the world were born. Here, beauty is not reserved for monuments alone. It lives in everyday moments, the sound of footsteps on cobblestone, the smell of fresh bread drifting from a bakery, the way sunlight dances across a quiet square. Art flows through Paris like blood through veins. Painters once gathered in dim studios, writers filled notebooks in smoky cafes, and musicians transformed emotion into sound that echoed through narrow streets. Creativity was never an accessory here, it was survival. Paris became a refuge for imagination, a place where ideas were free to grow, challenge, and transform the world. Yet Paris is not frozen in history. It moves forward with grace, carrying its heritage without being trapped by it. Fashion, design, cuisine, and culture evolve constantly, yet always remain rooted in tradition. Elegance here is effortless, not forced. Style is not loud, is confident, subtle, and deeply human. As the city awakens fully, life unfolds in rhythm. Locals greet each other with familiarity. Coffee cups clink against saucers. Conversations spill onto sidewalks. Paris lives outdoors, where the line between public and personal fades. Time slows just enough to be felt. In this city, moments matter. Paris teaches a quiet lesson, that progress does not require forgetting, and that beauty does not need excess. It reminds us that cities are not defined by height or speed, but by soul, by memory, by the way they make people feel long after they leave. This is where journeys begin, not with a checklist, but with curiosity. Paris does not reveal itself all at once. It unfolds slowly, rewarding those who observe, who listen, who linger. It is a city that asks you to look closer, feel deeper, and walk without rushing. As the sun climbs higher and the city fully awakens, one truth becomes clear. Paris is not just seen, it is experienced. And once it enters you, it never truly leaves. This is Paris, timeless, alive, unforgettable. From a distance, it rises slowly into view, cutting through the Parisian skyline with quiet confidence. At first, it feels unreal, a silhouette so familiar it seems almost imagined. Yet as you draw closer, its scale, detail, and presence become undeniable. The Eiffel Tower is not just the symbol of Paris. It is the heartbeat of the city, a structure that transforms skepticism into pride, and iron into poetry. When it was first built, many doubted it. Critics called it unnecessary, ugly, temporary. They could not see what time would reveal that this tower would become one of the most recognized and beloved structures on Earth. Standing beneath it today, those doubts feel impossible to imagine. The iron lattice rises with elegance, strength, and mathematical beauty, proving that vision often arrives before understanding. As daylight moves across its surface, the tower changes character. In the soft glow of morning, it feels gentle and contemplative, standing watch as Paris awakens below. By afternoon, it dominates the skyline with confidence, its shadow stretching across the Champ de Mars, where people gather, walk, laugh, and pause to look upward. Here, the tower is not distant or untouchable, it belongs to the people. From above, the view is transformative. Paris unfolds in every direction, a masterpiece of symmetry and history. The Seine curves gracefully through the city. Boulevards radiate outward like vines. Rooftops stretch endlessly, carrying centuries of stories beneath their slate tiles. From this height, Paris feels unified, not crowded, not chaotic, but carefully composed. The Eiffel Tower has witnessed history from above. It stood through wars, celebrations, heartbreak, and rebirth. It watched Paris endure occupation and celebrate liberation. It became a silent observer to moments that shaped nations. While generations changed below, the tower remained constant, resilient, patient. As evening approaches, the atmosphere around the tower transforms. The sky softens, the city slows. Street musicians fill the air with melody. Couples sit on the grass, children run freely, and cameras pause as people stop trying to capture the moment, choosing instead to live it. When the first lights flicker on, Paris collectively holds its breath. Then, night arrives, and the tower becomes magic. Thousands of lights ignite, shimmering against the darkness like stars brought down to earth. Every hour, it sparkles not loudly, not dramatically, but joyfully. In those moments, strangers smile at each other without speaking. The city feels connected, united by wonder. Yet the Eiffel Tower is more than spectacle. It is a symbol of daring, a reminder that progress requires courage. Built for a World's Fair, it outlived its purpose and redefined itself. It stands as proof that beauty can emerge from innovation, that strength can coexist with grace. Around it, Paris continues to move. Boats glide along the Seine. Cafés glow warmly in the distance. The city hums with life, but the tower remains the anchor grounding Paris while lifting it upward. It is both monument and companion, both landmark and witness. To see Paris without the Eiffel Tower would be to miss its center of gravity. Not because it is the tallest or the most ornate, but because it represents the city's spirit, bold, resilient, artistic, and unafraid to dream beyond limits. As the lights continue to shimmer against the night sky, one truth becomes clear. The Eiffel Tower is not simply something you look at. It is something you feel. It reminds you to look up, to imagine freely, and to believe that even the most doubted ideas can become timeless wonders. And in that quiet realization, Paris reveals itself once more, not through noise or scale, but through enduring beauty that never stops inspiring. It begins with a quiet moment beside the water, where reflections shimmer and the city seems to breathe. The Seine is not just a river flowing through Paris. It is the soul that connects everything. Along its banks, centuries unfold, side by side, blending history, art, romance, and everyday life into one continuous rhythm. As the river curves through the heart of the city, Paris reveals itself slowly. Stone bridges arch gracefully overhead, each one carrying its own story. Some are grand and ceremonial, others simple and intimate. But all of them link more than just land. They connect eras, emotions, and lives. Walking beside the Seine feels like walking through time itself. The river has witnessed Paris rise, fall, and rise again. Kings once crossed it in golden carriages. Revolutionaries gathered along its edges. Artists set up easels to capture its light, and writers found inspiration in its movement. Even today, its presence shapes the city's pace, offering calm in the middle of constant motion. Near its banks stands one of the greatest treasures of human creativity, the Louvre. From the outside, its scale is overwhelming. Once a fortress, later a royal palace, and now the world's most visited museum, it carries layers of history within its walls. The modern glass pyramid at its center reflects the sky above, symbolizing the balance between past and future that defines Paris itself. Inside, the Louvre is not just a museum, it is a universe. Endless galleries stretch outward, filled with masterpieces that shape civilization. Paintings, sculptures, and artifacts speak silently, telling stories of love, power, faith, and ambition. Every step forward feels like a journey across continents and centuries. Yet the true magic of the Louvre is not only in its famous works, but in the quiet moments between them. A visitor pausing alone in front of a forgotten statue. Soft footsteps echoing through vast halls. Light filtering gently through high windows, touching stone and canvas alike. Here, time slows, and art becomes deeply personal. Back outside, the Seine continues its flow, guiding the city forward. Bookstalls line the riverbanks, their green boxes opening like secrets waiting to be discovered. Old books, vintage prints, and handwritten notes invite passersby to stop, browse, and linger. In these simple interactions, Paris feels intimate, a city that encourages curiosity. As afternoon fades into evening, the river reflects golden hues from the sky, and streetlights begin to glow. Boats drift smoothly across the water, carrying quiet conversations and soft laughter. The city feels calmer now, wrapped in a sense of shared stillness. The Seine does not demand attention, yet it holds it effortlessly. It teaches Paris how to balance grandeur with simplicity. Around it stand some of the world's most iconic landmarks, yet the river itself remains humble, always moving, always giving, never asking. In Paris, beauty does not shout. It whispers. Through moments like these, through water flowing beneath ancient bridges, through art preserved across generations, through silence shared by strangers watching the same sunset. The Seine gathers all of it, holding the city together without ever standing still. And as night settles fully over Paris, the river continues onward, reflecting lights, memories, and dreams. It reminds you that while monuments stand tall and history leaves its marks, life flows forward quietly, gracefully, endlessly. The morning light touches Paris differently here, as if the city has learned how to glow. In the heart of this quiet brilliance rises a structure that feels less like a monument and more like a symbol of human ambition, the Eiffel Tower. From a distance, it appears delicate, almost fragile. Yet as you draw closer, its iron lattice reveals extraordinary strength and precision. When it was first built, many doubted it. Critics called it unnecessary, even ugly. Yet time transformed disbelief into admiration. Today, the Eiffel Tower is not just the most recognizable landmark of Paris. It is a global icon. It represents innovation, courage, and the willingness to imagine something the world has never seen before. Standing beneath it, you feel both small and inspired. The tower stretches upward with quiet confidence, its curves and angles forming a perfect balance between engineering and art. Elevators glide upward, carrying visitors toward panoramic views that reveal Paris in its full elegance. From above, the city unfolds like a living map, wide boulevards, winding streets, rivers of movement flowing in every direction. As the tower rises above the Champ de Mars, the surrounding gardens offer space to breathe. Locals picnic on the grass, children laugh and run freely, and visitors sit quietly, simply taking it all in. This is Paris at its most human, not hurried, not distant, but warm and shared. The Eiffel Tower watches over these moments like a silent guardian. As daylight fades, transformation begins. One by one, lights flicker on, and the tower shifts from structure to spectacle. Every evening, it sparkles against the night sky, turning iron into stardust. For a few magical minutes, time seems to pause. People stop walking, conversations fade, and eyes lift upward together. Nearby, the city reveals another layer of beauty. Along the banks of the Seine, the glow of street lamps reflects softly on the water. Couples stroll hand in hand, musicians play gentle melodies, and cafes fill with low voices and clinking glasses. Paris at night is not loud, it is intimate, almost secretive, inviting you to lean in closer. The Eiffel Tower becomes a compass point after dark, visible from countless streets and corners. No matter where you wander, it reminds you of where you are. It anchors the city, offering comfort and familiarity in a place that constantly surprises. Yet, beyond its fame, the tower holds something deeper. It reminds us that greatness often begins with doubt, that beauty can emerge from bold ideas, that structures meant to last are built not only with steel, but with belief. As the night deepens, the tower continues to shine, steady and unwavering. Beneath it, Paris lives on, dining, dreaming, creating. The city moves forward, shaped by its past but never trapped by it. Here, under the glow of iron and stars, Paris feels timeless, not because it never changes, but because it knows how to carry its history gracefully into every new moment. Before the city fully wakes, there is a quiet rhythm that belongs only to Paris. The gentle clatter of footsteps on stone, the hum of early traffic, and the soft echo of life beginning again. This rhythm leads us to a place where Paris reveals its intellectual soul, a place shaped not by kings or emperors, but by thinkers, dreamers, and rebels of the mind. This is the Latin Quarter. Tucked along the left bank of the Seine, the Latin Quarter feels older than memory itself. Its narrow streets curve and twist, as if resisting the straight lines of modern planning. Here, history does not sit behind glass. It breathes through walls, cafés, and conversations. For centuries, this neighborhood has been the beating heart of education and philosophy in Paris. At its center stands the Sorbonne, one of Europe's oldest universities. Generations of scholars pass through these halls, debating ideas that reshaped the world. Philosophy, science, literature, all collided here. Walking past its stone facade, you can almost hear echoes of arguments that once stretched deep into the night, fueled by passion rather than certainty. The streets surrounding the university are alive with energy. Bookshops spill onto sidewalks, their shelves stacked with old volumes, rare editions, and handwritten notes tucked between pages. The scent of aging paper mixes with fresh coffee drifting from nearby cafés. This is a place where knowledge is not intimidating, it is inviting. Cafés in the Latin Quarter are not just places to eat, they are extensions of the mind. Writers once sat for hours with a single cup of coffee, filling notebooks with thoughts that would later change literature forever. Conversations here feel different, slower, deeper, unafraid of silence. Even today, students lean across small tables, arguing ideas with the same intensity as those before them. As you move deeper into the quarter, hidden courtyards appear without warning. Ancient stone walls guard peaceful gardens where time seems suspended. The sound of the city fades, replaced by birdsong and whispered pages turning. These quiet spaces remind you that Paris understands balance between noise and stillness, movement and reflection. The Pantheon rises nearby, powerful and dignified. Beneath its grand dome rest some of France's greatest minds, philosophers, scientists, writers, honored not for conquest, but for thought. Standing before it, you sense the weight of ideas that shape nations. It is a monument not to power, but to intellect. As evening approaches, the Latin Quarter transforms. Streetlights glow warmly, and music drifts from small venues tucked between buildings. Restaurants fill with laughter and the clinking of glasses. The air carries the aroma of simple, comforting food, bread, soup, wine meals, meant to be shared rather than rushed. Despite its history, this quarter never feels trapped in the past. Young voices mix with old traditions, creating something constantly renewed. Students from around the world bring new languages, new perspectives, and new dreams, keeping the spirit of inquiry alive. The Latin Quarter teaches us something essential about Paris. This city is not defined only by beauty you can photograph. It is defined by ideas you can feel, by questions that remain unanswered, by conversations that refuse to end. Here, Paris thinks out loud and invites you to listen. As the city stretches toward the sky, Paris begins to feel different. The streets climb, the air softens, and the pace slows, as if inviting you to leave the noise behind. This ascent leads to Montmartre, a place where Paris becomes poetic, where art lives not in museums alone, but in the very air you breathe. Long before it became part of the city, Montmartre was a village perched above Paris. Even now, it carries that independent spirit. Cobbled streets wind uphill, refusing order or symmetry. Each turn reveals something unexpected: a hidden staircase, a quiet square, a painter at work, lost in concentration. At the summit stands Sacré-Cœur, glowing white against the sky. Its domes rise gently, offering calm rather than grandeur. From its steps, Paris stretches endlessly below rooftops layered like waves. The Seine threading through the city, landmarks appearing like memories resurfacing. It is one of the most breathtaking views in Europe, not because of height alone, but because of perspective. Montmartre has always belonged to artists. Painters, poets, musicians, those who lived on inspiration rather than wealth, found refuge here. In small studios and dim cafes, they created works that would redefine art itself. Names became legends, but the spirit remains unchanged. Creativity here feels natural, unforced, alive. Place du Théâtre still hums with that energy. Easels line the square, brushes dance across canvas, and portraits emerge stroke by stroke. Some artists work for tourists, others for themselves, but all share the same devotion, capturing moments before they disappear. Watching them, you feel how fragile and powerful creativity truly is. Beyond the crowds, Montmartre reveals its quieter side. Residential streets curve gently past ivy-covered buildings and shuttered windows. Flower boxes overflow with color. Laundry hangs between balconies. Life here feels intimate, almost secret, as though you've stepped into a private Paris few ever fully know. As afternoon fades, the neighborhood glows. Street lamps flicker on, casting warm light across stone walls. Music drifts from cafes, sometimes just a guitar and a voice, sometimes laughter spilling into the street. The sound is not polished, it is honest. Montmartre reminds you that beauty does not need perfection. It needs soul. The uneven stones beneath your feet, the peeling paint on old doors, the imperfect melodies echoing through the night, all combine into something deeply human. Here, Paris feels less like a destination and more like a feeling, a reminder that life, like art, is meant to be experienced, not rushed. And as you descend the hill, carrying that feeling with you, you understand why Montmartre never truly leaves those who visit. It stays quietly in the way you see the world afterward. There is a moment in Paris when the past and present meet so seamlessly that you forget where one ends and the other begins. This moment often unfolds along the banks of the Seine, where history flows as steadily as the river itself. Here, Paris reveals its memory, not as something distant, but as something alive, moving, and endlessly reflective. The Seine is more than a river. It is the spine of the city, shaping its rhythm for centuries. Kings, artists, merchants, and revolutionaries all passed along these waters. As you walk beside it, the sound of footsteps blends with the gentle movement of boats, and the city feels calm, almost contemplative. Paris slows here, allowing you to observe rather than rush. Rising beside the river stands the Louvre, a structure so vast and layered that it feels like a city within a city. Once a fortress, later a palace, and now the world's most visited museum, the Louvre carries the weight of countless eras. Its walls have witnessed power, betrayal, creativity, and transformation. Every stone seems to hold a story. Entering the courtyard, the glass pyramid stands in striking contrast to the historic facade. Modern and transparent, it reflects the sky by day and glows softly at night. It is a symbol of Paris itself, honoring tradition while never fearing change. Beneath it lies an ocean of art, stretching across time and continents. Inside, silence takes on a new meaning. Footsteps echo softly as visitors move through endless corridors. Paintings, sculptures, and artifacts surround you, each one a fragment of human expression. From delicate brushstrokes to monumental statues, the museum is not just a collection, it is a dialogue between civilizations. Yet the Louvre is not only about what hangs on the walls, it is about how it makes you feel. Small before greatness, curious before mystery, humbled by creativity. Even those who never step inside feel its presence, dominating the riverbank with quiet authority. Outside, the Seine continues its journey. Bookstalls line the quays, their green boxes opening like secrets waiting to be discovered. Old postcards, antique maps, weathered novels, each item carries a piece of someone else's Paris. Browsing here feels personal, as though the city is sharing memories with you, one page at a time. As evening approaches, the river changes color. Gold fades into blue, reflections stretch longer, and lights shimmer across the water. Bridges glow softly, connecting not just neighborhoods, but eras. Lovers pause mid-walk, musicians play gentle melodies, and the city exhales. Boat lights drift past like floating stars, offering a different view of Paris, one where monuments glide by in silence. From this angle, the city feels intimate, almost private, despite its grandeur. The Seine teaches you something essential about Paris. This city does not rush its story. It allows history to flow naturally, shaping the present without drowning it. Here, surrounded by art, water, and time, Paris feels eternal, not frozen, but forever becoming. When Paris wishes to show its elegance, it does so with restraint, not through towering monuments or grand statements, but through balance, symmetry, and grace. This refined beauty reveals itself most clearly along the Champs-Élysées and within the gardens that surround it, where the city's sense of style becomes a way of life. Stretching from the Place de la Concorde to the Arc de Triomphe, the Champs-Élysées is often called the most famous avenue in the world. Yet its power lies not in fame, but in atmosphere. Wide sidewalks invite slow walks. Trees line the boulevard like silent guardians. The rhythm of movement here feels deliberate, never rushed. Luxury storefronts stand beside historic cafes, blending past and present effortlessly. Fashion houses display artistry as carefully as museums display masterpieces. Even window displays feel theatrical, designed to inspire rather than simply sell. This is Paris expressing itself through detail. At the western end rises the Arc de Triomphe, strong and commanding. Built to honor those who fought and sacrificed, it stands at the center of a vast star of avenues. Beneath it burns an eternal flame, quietly reminding visitors that beauty and loss often share the same space. From the top, the city radiates outward, revealing Paris as a carefully composed work of art. Across the avenue, the Jardin des Tuileries offers a different rhythm. Here, Paris pauses. Gravel paths stretch between manicured hedges, statues rest in thoughtful silence, and chairs face the sky as if waiting for reflection. Locals sit without urgency, reading, thinking, or simply watching the clouds drift. Children laugh near fountains, their voices echoing softly against stone. Artists sketch in the shade. Tourists slow down, drawn into the calm, without realizing why. The gardens do not demand attention, they offer peace. As you walk through, symmetry guides your steps. Everything feels intentional, yet natural. The gardens frame the city like a living painting, allowing architecture and nature to exist in harmony. This balance defines Parisian elegance, nothing excessive, nothing forced. As afternoon turns to evening, the Champs-Élysées begins to glow. Streetlights illuminate the avenue in a soft golden line, guiding the eye toward the Arc de Triomphe. Traffic flows like a steady pulse, reminding you that Paris is alive, constantly moving. Cafés fill with quiet conversation. Glasses clink. Laughter drifts into the night air. Despite the scale of the boulevard, moments here feel personal. A shared smile, a passing glance, a reflection caught in a window. The Champs-Élysées and its gardens reveal a deeper truth about Paris. Elegance is not about excess, it is about harmony, about knowing when to speak and when to remain silent, about creating space for both movement and stillness. Here, Paris doesn't try to impress you. It simply is confident, composed, and unforgettable. Paris has a way of revealing its most powerful emotions through silence. Away from the busy boulevards and famous landmarks, there are places where the city speaks softly and where listening becomes essential. Chapter by chapter, Paris teaches us to feel, not just to see. One of these lessons unfolds in its sacred spaces and quiet neighborhoods, where reflection replaces spectacle. Notre-Dame rises at the heart of the city, like a memory carved in stone. Even after centuries of change, its presence remains deeply moving. The cathedral does not demand attention, it commands it through stillness. Its towers stand firm against the sky, and its facade, worn by time, holds stories of devotion, tragedy, and resilience. Stepping onto the island that cradles Notre-Dame, the noise of Paris fades. The rhythm of the river surrounds you, and the air feels heavier with meaning. Every arch, every carved figure, reflects the belief that beauty can be an act of faith. Though fire once wounded it, the spirit of Notre Dame endures, reminding us that heritage can bend without breaking. Nearby, Île Saint-Louis offers a gentler pace. Narrow streets curve between historic buildings, and life unfolds quietly. There are no grand gestures here, just doors opening, footsteps echoing, and windows framing everyday moments. This is Paris lived, not displayed. Cafés sit close to the water, inviting you to pause. Ice cream melts slowly in the afternoon sun. Locals greet one another by name. The island feels like a village hidden within a metropolis, where time moves differently and familiarity replaces urgency. Beyond the islands, Paris holds countless neighborhoods where reflection thrives. Small churches sit tucked between apartment buildings, their doors open not to tourists, but to anyone seeking a moment of calm. Candles flicker, casting warm light on stone walls worn smooth by centuries of touch. Cemeteries, too, become places of beauty rather than sorrow. Tree-lined paths wind past names that shaped art, music, and thought. Here, remembrance feels peaceful. Life and legacy exist side by side, reminding visitors that creation does not end with time. As evening approaches, bells ring softly across rooftops. The sound carries weight without volume, marking hours not with urgency, but with presence. The city slows, inviting you to do the same. Paris, in these moments, feels deeply human, not defined by crowds or cameras, but by quiet continuity, by faith carried forward, by neighborhoods that protect their soul while welcoming the future. This side of Paris stays with you longest, not because it is loud or dramatic, but because it teaches you how to listen. And in listening, you discover that the city's true wonder lies not only in what it shows, but in what it allows you to feel. As the sun begins its slow descent over Paris, the city transforms yet again, revealing a side that cannot be captured fully in photographs or described in guidebooks. This is the Paris that lingers in memory long after departure. A city defined not only by monuments or streets, but by atmosphere, emotion, and the invisible threads that connect history, culture, and human experience. To truly understand Paris, one must step beyond the surface and immerse in its rhythm, noticing the small details that make the city extraordinary. Evening brings a subtle magic to the streets. Street lamps flicker to life, casting pools of warm light over cobblestones worn smooth by centuries of footsteps. Cafés spill gentle chatter into narrow lanes, the aroma of fresh bread, coffee, and roasted chestnuts mingling in the air. In these moments, the city seems to exhale, softening the intensity of its daily energy into a quieter, more intimate pulse. Lovers stroll along the Seine, holding hands as the reflections of bridges and buildings shimmer on the water. Tourists pause mid-step, cameras lowered, captivated not by an object to photograph, but by the feeling of being in a city that has existed for centuries and yet still feels vibrant, alive, and unpredictable. The Seine, as always, acts as Paris's lifeblood, winding through its neighborhoods and connecting past and present. Gondolas, barges, and small boats glide across its surface, the gentle lapping of water a counterpoint to the faint murmur of life along the quays. On either side, historic buildings stand as silent witnesses to revolutions, celebrations, and the daily rituals of ordinary Parisians. Bridges stretch overhead like thoughtful guardians, each one carrying its own story of triumphs, tragedies, and love affairs long forgotten, yet lingering in echoes of stone and iron. From the higher vantage points, the city stretches endlessly. Rooftops create patterns of gray and slate, interrupted by church spires, domes, and towers. The Eiffel Tower rises again, this time bathed in golden light, an anchor of the city visible from nearly every corner. From this height, Paris feels like a carefully orchestrated masterpiece. Every street, every park, every monument contributing to a grand, living composition. Yet the beauty is not merely visual. It is felt in the way air moves, in the rhythm of footsteps, in the quiet moments of reflection that the city offers to anyone willing to pause and absorb it. As the night deepens, the city's energy subtly shifts. The bustling streets of the daytime transform into intimate corridors of light and shadow. Cafés dim their lights, leaving glowing candles to illuminate faces and conversations. Jazz drifts from small clubs tucked into side streets, blending effortlessly with the gentle murmur of the Seine and the occasional echo of footsteps across bridges. The music is understated but profound, as if Paris itself is humming a lullaby to its residents and visitors alike. Paris's charm is not limited to grand monuments or famous avenues. It exists in the interplay of light and shadow, in the quiet pride of centuries-old architecture, in the way communities continue traditions alongside modern life. The city's identity is stitched together from countless invisible threads, stories of artists, writers, philosophers, bakers, musicians, and ordinary citizens who have all contributed to its soul. It is a city that asks to be experienced, not conquered. In these final hours before night fully settles, Paris becomes introspective. The sounds of traffic soften. Streetlights and shop windows reflect across the Seine in fractured patterns. The smell of rain on stone lingers faintly, even if the sky remains clear. The city invites reflection on history, on beauty, and on the ephemeral nature of human experience. For those who take the time to wander without agenda, Paris offers revelation. It is not merely a city to see, but a city to feel, a place where every step carries echoes of the past and whispers of possibility. This is the beginning of the end of our journey through Paris. Yet, it is also a moment of discovery. Here, in the quiet glow of evening, the city teaches its most important lesson: that wonder is not only in what is built or preserved, but in the way life, history, and culture intertwine to create a living, breathing masterpiece that continues to inspire anyone willing to immerse themselves fully. Paris is timeless. Paris is alive. And Paris is waiting, always, for those who wish to experience it in all its depth. As night deepens, Paris transforms into a city of reflections, where lights shimmer on the Seine like trails of memory, and every corner seems to whisper secrets of centuries past. This is the Paris that exists beyond postcards and tour guides, the Paris that lingers in the heart long after you leave its streets. It is a city of contradictions, where quiet alleyways coexist with grand boulevards, where intimate cafes share space with monumental palaces, and where the weight of history is felt not as a burden, but as a pulse running through every stone and shadow. Walking along the Seine at night, the city feels alive in a different way than during the day. Boats glide slowly along the water, their lights creating golden reflections that dance like fleeting stars. The bridges spanning the river are softly illuminated, casting intricate shadows across the rippling surface. Each bridge is more than a crossing. It is a connector of lives, stories, and time itself. Lovers pause mid-step to admire the view. Tourists lower their cameras to simply absorb the moment, and locals continue their evening strolls, blending seamlessly with visitors in a shared appreciation of the city's magic. Montmartre glows quietly in the distance, its sacré, coeur dome standing against the night sky like a beacon. From its steps, the city stretches endlessly below, a labyrinth of lights and movement that seems both chaotic and perfectly ordered. The streets wind like rivers of memory, each bend revealing small cafes, hidden courtyards, and glimpses of life that have unfolded here for generations. Painters still line Place de Tertre, capturing fleeting moments in ink and brush, while musicians fill narrow lanes with soft melodies, carrying the spirit of creativity that has defined the neighborhood for centuries. Meanwhile, the Latin Quarter retains its intellectual pulse. Cafes and bookstores hum with life long after the sun has set. The air is thick with conversation, ideas exchanged over cups of coffee and glasses of wine. The same streets that once echoed with the voices of philosophers, poets, and students now carry the footsteps of those who continue to seek knowledge, understanding, and inspiration. Paris at night is not silent. It is contemplative, inviting those who listen carefully to hear the echoes of history merging with the present. Even the grand boulevards take on a new personality after dark. The Champs-Élysées shimmers with golden light, its trees and facades reflecting the city's elegance in every corner. Cafés glow warmly, their outdoor seating spilling into the streets as patrons linger over conversations, laughter, and wine. The Arc de Triomphe stands proud at the end of the avenue, a timeless sentinel, watching over the flow of life below. The eternal flame beneath its arch burns steadily, a quiet reminder of courage, sacrifice, and resilience, values that Paris embodies. In every stone, every street, and every heartbeat. The Eiffel Tower, of course, continues its nightly spectacle, sparkling in waves of light that capture the attention of every eye in the city. But beyond its brilliance lies the deeper essence of Paris, a city that does not need to shout to impress, that does not rely solely on grandeur to inspire. Its wonder comes from the totality of experience, from the way history, architecture, culture, and daily life merge into a living, breathing tapestry. Every moment, no matter how small, contributes to this mosaic. Every step along its streets, every pause on a bridge, every quiet reflection in a courtyard becomes part of the story that Paris tells to anyone willing to listen. As midnight approaches, the city slows, but does not sleep. Streetlights glow softly in quiet neighborhoods, and the hum of distant music drifts through the air. Paris at night teaches patience, observation, and appreciation. It reminds visitors that beauty is not always loud, that meaning is not always obvious, and that the most profound experiences often occur in moments of stillness and reflection. In this nocturnal Paris, history feels alive, yet not burdensome. It invites participation rather than observation. Every bridge, cathedral, garden, and street corner carries the weight of centuries, but they are not reminders of what has passed alone. They are invitations to contribute to the ongoing story of the city. Paris encourages exploration, curiosity, and wonder, proving that even after thousands of years, it continues to evolve while retaining its timeless soul. And as you walk beneath the softly glowing streets, along the river that has witnessed generations of life, art, and revolution, one truth becomes clear. To experience Paris fully is not to follow a guide, but to immerse yourself in its rhythm, its light, its shadows, and its enduring spirit. Here, the city is not simply a backdrop, it is an active participant in every moment, a living, breathing presence that transforms every visitor into a part of its endless story. As the night in Paris deepens, the city reveals its most intimate and captivating side, the side that lingers long after the grand monuments fade from memory. This is a Paris not only of streets and buildings, but of feeling a city where every shadow, every flicker of light, and every whispered conversation becomes part of a living story. In these hours, the magic of the city is undeniable, yet subtle, existing in places where history, culture, and human experience converge seamlessly. The Seine continues its steady flow, carrying reflections of lights from bridges, cafes, and apartments along its banks. Boat tours glide silently, their passengers hushed in awe, while couples pause on stone steps to take in the glittering water. Each ripple seems to echo the footsteps of centuries, from the medieval merchants who once traded along its banks to the writers and philosophers who once lingered in a café, finding inspiration in its eternal movement. Montmartre stands proudly on its hill, glowing softly in the night. The Sacré-Cœur dome dominates the skyline, offering a perspective that stretches across the city. From here, Paris appears as a living painting, each neighborhood a carefully composed brushstroke. The narrow, winding streets below hum quietly with life. Small restaurants glow warmly, street musicians play tender melodies, and the laughter of locals and visitors intertwines with the distant hum of traffic. Montmartre, with its artistic legacy, reminds every visitor that creativity is not confined to galleries. It exists wherever human passion meets observation and expression. Meanwhile, the Latin Quarter maintains its intellectual heartbeat. Bookshops remain open later into the evening, their interiors glowing with lamplight, inviting nighttime wanderers to explore ideas and stories from centuries past. Cafés spill onto the streets, offering intimate spaces for conversation, debate, or quiet reflection. The energy here is different from the daytime bustle, more deliberate, more thoughtful, as though the neighborhood itself is encouraging visitors to pause, to consider, and to engage with Paris on a deeper level. On the city's grand avenues, the Champs-Élysées and surrounding boulevards continue to impress, not only with their architectural beauty, but with the life that fills them. Streetlights cast golden halos across sidewalks, and the gentle hum of cars creates a rhythm that underscores the city's vibrancy. Cafés remain lively, musicians perform impromptu concerts, and the Arc de Triomphe stands as a symbol of endurance, history, and national pride. The flame beneath its arch flickers steadily, a reminder of resilience that Paris embodies so naturally. The Eiffel Tower, ever the centerpiece, continues to mesmerize. Its twinkling lights, cycling in bursts every hour, reflect not only on the Seine, but also in the eyes of those who gaze upward. People gather on nearby lawns and bridges, cameras forgotten, simply watching the tower sparkle against the night sky. In these moments, the tower transcends its status as a monument. It becomes a shared experience, a symbol of wonder and connection. Paris teaches that beauty is not measured by scale alone, but by its ability to touch hearts. Yet perhaps the true essence of Paris at night lies not in monuments or lights, but in the small, quiet moments. A street musician's soft melody drifting across a plaza, the faint smell of fresh bread or roasted chestnuts carried on the evening air. Couples leaning on railings, sharing a private laugh while the city hums around them. In these instances, Paris is not observed. It is felt. Its soul enters quietly, leaving traces that remain long after footsteps have moved on. Paris at night is also a city of reflection. The history of revolutions, of art, of literature and music hums invisibly through the air. Every building, every bridge, every cobblestone carries echoes of human ambition, resilience, and creativity. Here, history is not static. It interacts with the present, inspiring curiosity, humility, and a sense of belonging to something far greater than oneself. As the hours stretch toward midnight, the city slows but does not sleep. Neighborhoods glow with soft lamplight. The Seine continues its steady flow. Cafés, once lively, become more intimate, conversations lowering to a whisper. Paris reveals itself not as a spectacle to be consumed, but as a living companion, patient, persistent, and endlessly inviting. By the time the night reaches its deepest hour, a profound realization emerges. Paris is timeless, yet alive. It is a city of history, art, and intellect, but it is also a city of emotion, reflection, and human connection. Every step taken here, every street explored, every quiet moment of observation becomes part of a larger story. The story of a city that has endured centuries, yet continues to inspire, captivate, and move every soul willing to experience it fully. As the night in Paris deepens, the city settles into a rhythm that is both timeless and immediate. There's a quiet majesty in its streets, a subtle symphony of sounds and movements that only reveals itself to those who slow down enough to notice. The city, which by day dazzles with monuments, boulevards, and landmarks, by night whispers stories of centuries past, stories of art, revolution, love, and human resilience into every corner, alley, and riverbank. The Seine continues its endless flow, a liquid mirror reflecting the city's lights and history. Bridges stretch elegantly across its surface, each one a testament to the ingenuity and vision of generations. On the riverbanks, green bookstalls remain open, their treasures glowing softly under lamps. Ancient postcards, rare volumes, and forgotten prints invite exploration. They are relics of memory, holding the whispers of lives long gone, yet still relevant to anyone willing to listen. Walking alongside the Seine, you feel the pulse of Paris not as a distant observer, but as a participant in its ongoing story. Montmartre, perched above the city, glows in the night like a lantern of creativity. The Sacré-Cœur dome rises gently into the sky, offering panoramic views where Paris sprawls endlessly in every direction. The narrow cobbled streets below are alive with subtle energy. Small cafes host quiet gatherings, musicians fill side alleys with intimate melodies, and the laughter of locals mingles with the soft chatter of visitors. Montmartre has always been a haven for artists and dreamers, and even now, it continues to inspire creativity and reflection. Every corner, Every courtyard, every stairway holds echoes of the painters, writers, and poets who once called this neighborhood home. The Latin Quarter, with its winding streets and historic architecture, maintains a softer, intellectual heartbeat in the late hours. Bookstores glow invitingly, offering both familiar classics and obscure tomes to anyone willing to pause. Cafés hum with the quiet energy of conversation, debate, and discovery. Here, the city's legacy of thought and learning feels alive, bridging centuries of ideas with the modern day. Paris teaches that knowledge and beauty are intertwined, and the Latin Quarter exemplifies this truth, allowing visitors to walk in the footsteps of philosophers while creating their own experiences. The grandeur of the Champs-Élysées and the Arc de Triomphe continues to impress. Yet even these iconic locations take on a softer tone at night. Streetlights cast warm, golden reflections across the wide avenue, illuminating tree-lined paths and historic facades. The Arc de Triomphe stands proudly at the end of the boulevard, a sentinel of history and memory. Beneath its arch, the eternal flame burns steadily, reminding all who pass that courage, sacrifice, and human spirit are the foundations upon which Paris was built. The avenue itself feels alive yet contemplative, a space where history, elegance, and everyday life converge effortlessly. And, of course, the Eiffel Tower sparkles in its nightly display, a culmination of light, history, and artistry. Every hour, it dazzles with thousands of tiny bulbs, transforming iron into stardust. Tourists and locals alike pause to watch, not for the sake of seeing, but for the sheer experience of being present. Its brilliance reflects not just on the Seine, but in the hearts of everyone who witnesses it. The Eiffel Tower, like Paris itself, is more than a monument. It is a shared experience, a reminder of human ambition, imagination, and beauty. Yet the true magic of Paris lies in its small, quiet moments. A musician's soft melody drifting across a plaza, the faint aroma of freshly baked bread or roasted chestnuts in a narrow alley, couples leaning on a bridge railing, exchanging whispered words while the city hums around them. Life unfolds in these subtle ways, and in noticing them, visitors understand the city more fully. Paris is not merely to be seen, it is to be felt. As midnight approaches, the city slows but does not sleep. Lamplights cast gentle shadows across cobblestones. Boats drift silently along the Seine, their lights shimmering in the water. Cafés remain alive with conversation, laughter, and music, but the pace is deliberate, introspective. Paris in these hours is a city of reflection, inviting anyone willing to pause to feel the depth of its history, the weight of its culture, and the warmth of its life. In this final chapter of our journey through Paris, one truth becomes undeniable. The city is timeless, yet ever-changing. It is a place where history and modernity coexist, where grandeur meets intimacy, and where every street, monument, and riverbank carries echoes of human experience. Paris is not simply a destination. It is a companion, a teacher, and a canvas on which every visitor paints a memory of their own. As the night stretches into the early hours, Paris continues to shine quietly, yet profoundly. Its streets, bridges, and monuments remain, patiently waiting for the next traveler to wander, to wonder, and to be transformed. And in this enduring beauty, this timeless rhythm, the city leaves its final lesson. That true wonder is not only in seeing a place, but in feeling it, living it, breathing it, and allowing its spirit to leave an indelible mark upon your soul. Paris is eternal. Paris is alive. Paris is unforgettable. As our journey through Paris comes to an end, the city doesn't fade, it stays with you, lingering in your mind, your heart, and your imagination. Every street we walked, every bridge we crossed, every light that shimmered along the Seine has left an indelible mark. Paris is more than monuments and history. It is a living, breathing masterpiece that invites you to pause, to feel, and to wonder. It teaches us that beauty is not only in what we see, but in how we experience it. And as the lights of the Eiffel Tower sparkle one last time tonight, remember this: Paris is eternal, unforgettable, and always waiting not just for tourists, but for anyone willing to experience its magic fully. Thanks for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed exploring Prague as much as I enjoyed guiding you through it. If you found this travel guide helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more beautiful destinations from around the world. Got a favorite spot in Prague?